successful entrepreneurs are the ones who are the most confident, and so building that confidence is the most important thing you can do. But by going for the smaller fish, getting that confidence to step up to the next thing, is that do you see a direct
Mhm.
correlation between success and confidence?
Yes, because I try to surround myself with everyone who's better than me. Because then it gives me that hunger and drive to be like, I want to be better than you inevitably. Just give me time, and because I know I have the work ethic and the competitive nature to be like, I want to put you 6 feet on the ground and make sure you ask me for advice in the future. Um, but it's sort of you have to be confident, just not in terms of the work aspect too, and or sales. It's just in life. You're not going to see something by being skittish. Um, but I would say the top two keys is self-discipline and confidence.
Hello, everyone! Welcome to Founders Ascent. Today we have a very special guest, Vincent Yang, founder of VYFlourish Advisors, providing insurance services to families all over the country. Alabama?
Yeah, and pretty much all states except for like California and New York, because those have completely separate laws for insurance.
Fantastic. We're excited to get to know you, Vincent. And
Hey, likewise.
we're getting ready to jump in. So just tell us a bit more about yourself and like how does a young guy like you get into insurance?
So pretty much, when I was younger, I didn't really have a sense of direction, truth be told, because I like to be. I'm not gonna lie about I had this one specific grape come up, um, but really I just tried to dabble in everything I could, possibly to weed out the things I didn't want to invest my time and energy into. Um, so I majored in hospitality management, and that's pretty much knowing the ins and outs on how to manage either food and beverages, hotels, resorts, basically any kind of lodgings. But my concentration was sports, and it wasn't really a goal of mine to try to manage a sports team. It was really I wanted to use it solely for networking because hospitality management's out there. It's the up and coming major to really just genuinely learn in terms of life skills because 75% of hires, I believe is the statistic, is through completely through networking. So it really did bring me out of the shell that I need to do because growing up, because I played an unhealthy amount of games and I was a really introverted person in my room. So I figured I need to reach out and actually flip my life around.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is a lot of like what you do day to day with your startup, it's face to face with customers? Like what does that look like as an advisor?
Um, Pretty much it totally depends on what the client wants because there are some where I've encountered they either wanted to have a screen share so they can sort of get a more of a visual learners, or they've typically just do the phone call, and then I make slight jokes here and there about how if they see me on LinkedIn, don't be surprised about my ugly mug. But pretty much I would say it's like 90% over phone calls. That 10% is either screen shares or being on a Zoom meeting. I mean, it's whatever they're comfortable with. It does not bother me one bit.
And
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
so what would you say is like one of the biggest challenges you've encountered since starting a business? I think a lot of people haven't started because they're worried about all these things. What can they expect to be a roadblock?
Um, it's honestly a lot like how motivational videos and like sort of like YouTube videos you see from millionaires talking about how they started. There's a common basis of how much are you willing to risk, and then also are you willing to separate yourself from all the distractions, even if it has to be about family members or loved ones, and really just to me it's self-discipline, um, because it's a tough road because no one really talks about the day-to-day basis. They just sort of talk about what they did in the past and then where they are in the future, and that's sort of what bothers me because it's really hard if you're really gonna try to invest your time to become the best you want to be and the best version in terms of a business aspect. You really just gotta separate yourself from everything else, and a lot of people can't really let that go. I mean, not saying that I do it now. I mean, I tried to do it honestly, it's like since I work 6 days out of this week, Sundays are practically my, my self time. Like I either read my book, work on my romantic novel that I'm writing, and then I obviously if I have meetings with clients, I reach out to them and then try to see what I could possibly do to further my business. It's not really I don't have the leisure to just sort of relax. And granted, obviously after work hours, I mean, a couple of my coworkers want to grab a couple drinks because we're always in there grinding it out. So it's only fair.
Yeah, that's interesting that there's sort of the two sides of business. One, it's essential that you network and you work with other people, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it's essential that you put in the time and be self-disciplined enough where it's just you putting in like that deep work where you
Hmm.
actually are productive. And you need both somehow, but you can't have both at the exact same time. And so, how do you
Yeah,
manage that?
it's really just finding I want to say the perfect balance, but have from what I found that helped me honestly, it's I separate those two, right? So I have my work schedule and my personal schedule. And then I figured out what is the most mandatory things I need for my personal schedule. So that's either going for a run after I go to the gym, or it's reading my book for like maybe a chapter or two. Those are the necessities for me. So I use that for my personal aspect and translate to my work schedule because I just reworked my personal, you know, necessities around my work. So I get into the office 8 a.m. or I'm already typically there 30 minutes beforehand, and I'm working. And my break time pretty much it's like 1 to 5, but it's not really 1 to 5. So the moment the 1 o'clock hits, go to the gym for 2 hours and knock that out. After that, I come eat, knock that out too. And from there, I try to brainstorm a little things of what I can further in my business rather than focusing on the primary thing. So it's more like finding better ways to market my business or prospecting with different clients because a lot of people out there, truth be told, is they don't know anything about insurance. Who cares? Because really, you either get it through your employer or you're going to go with a name that you're very familiar with because you heard of parents or their friends being on it, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example, and you're going to just be like, oh, I'm just going to go to that. And I want to make that process a lot simpler for my clients so that way when they do see something like that, they understand there's a whole other aspect of health insurance which not only can save them more money but also give them better coverages.
And so, what's sort of like the number one mistake you see people making when it comes to insurance? Like, what's one tip they could implement right now when looking at their insurance plans that would probably save them a lot of money?
um Private plans. So that or just completely understanding why Obamacare was even created to begin with, because private plans were originally the only health insurance plans out there. It was way cheaper back in the day too, but obviously Obama came into the office and said everyone needs to be insured because private plans are medically underwritten, and depending on the type of coverages you want, that's sort of how strict the unlike the guidelines it could be of you potentially being an applicant for that insurance policy. And what Obamacare does is really just it's a way for me, I like to explain it where like the government just has you know the ability to say, oh, everyone has health insurance. But truth be told, a lot of healthy families out there or individuals or businesses don't understand that if you are actually healthy, there's and medically you are fine, private plans are going to save you literally hundreds of dollars and you're going to get significantly better coverages. And the only problem with private plans are they don't really cover mental disabilities like depression and stuff like that, pregnancies or drug and rehab. And that's when you really want to sort of seek out an advisor. But the problem with that is everyone in this industry, it's a sales industry, they're money hungry. So A, they can either really help you or B, make a paycheck out of you and you don't even realize it because you just told the information what you hear over the phone or you just see my face and just trust me at that point.
Okay. With your startup, like what does the marketing look like for you?
Um, a lot of it is like automated systems. I would say it definitely helps. Like, for example, a couple of years ago when texting became a huge thing, That was the number one thing. If you were one of the first people to get into that, you were taken off because everyone liked texting. And now texting sort of getting out of the game, and now we got to find some new innovative way to engage that person's attention, right? And also not make it sound scammy because you're actually here to help.
Yeah.
So right now I obviously reach out through my LinkedIn. I feel like it's more impressionable that way rather than text. And realistically, LinkedIn is sort of like fake professionalism, really. But so they like to hear things, but at the same time they don't. It's a lot more attention grabbing than shooting on text, because if I'm texting them, they're most likely getting blown up by 10,000 other people. And so
Hmm.
I'm trying to be that one individual where they're like thinking about insurance and they're like, who can I go to? And oh, it's Vincent. So really, it's just once I get them on the phone, they'll just fall in love with my charms. It's all about really just rapport building afterwards from that. But right now, majority of my expenses are going to texting systems, and pretty much for now, since I'm a startup, every I would say $1 to $1.5 I make goes straight into texting because it's an absolute return that I know I'm gonna get. Now I might not see it within that week I invested, like poured in like $1,000 for example, but I know the next week I'm gonna be seeing a higher scale and then actually being a positive response compared to the negatives. Because I feel like a lot of people, they invest in things but don't realize things they invest in, it's you're trying to minimize the negative responses from it. You actually want to get a positive response because at that point you want to be most efficient with your money. And if you're just blowing it willy nilly, not knowing how to be completely efficient in that aspect, then you possibly wasting 50, $100 every time you text someone, or just like you're using some different system, um, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so how do you identify that sort of person that would make a good client so you can target them for your marketing? How do you segment your audience like that?
Honestly, I sort of just reach out saying like, hey, if you ever need help, in general terms here, if you ever need help, I'm always glad to um, be the knowledgeable basis for you. And a lot of my clients, I'd probably say it's like in the past week, probably 5 or 10 of them were like, oh, I'm so tired of like, all these other licensed agents reaching out to me. But I'm like, that's when I be blunt with them. I'm like, look, I could care less if I don't make money off you. I want you to be knowledgeable. So I give them a good rule of thumb. And it's like, here's what you should be roughly paying for your age. This is what you should be careful of different kinds of insurance plans that I don't even recommend
Hmm.
at all. And then they're like, okay, great. And I'm like, look, if you ever need assistance though, just you don't even have to like need me to help you. If you wanted to do on your own, you can. It's just use me so you're not getting scammed, because a good amount of clients are just out here getting scammed, and then stuff like that.
Got it. So you provide the value up front and then trust that your reputation and relationship will make you the money in the long run. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Talking more about like expenses though here, like you were talking about spending money on marketing and whatnot. Like, are you the kind of person that takes all of your revenues and just reinvest it back into your company, or you pocket it? Like, what do you like percentages? If you had to estimate, like, what are you doing with the money that you're making?
I'll honestly say, so let's say if it's the beginning of the month, any money I make going straight into my necessities like rent or utilities, food, stuff like that. Once I have that, everything is poured into texting. And now, so let's say in the first week, I'm like, okay, I just paid my rent, I'm fine. So I'll say 50-50. But as time goes on, like to the next week, then I'll scale it from I save 30% that I don't touch just solely for rent and stuff like that. And 70% goes into texting. And then the week after that, it goes 80-20. And then the week after that, it's 90-10. So
Okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah, no,
Like,
it's really beneficial if you understand the positive responses you get when you invest in something. It's genuinely understanding that, because a lot of people invest in things, into the wrong things, to be truth be told, and then it doesn't go out their own way. They don't understand what they did, because they might have had an absolute, like, the best work ethic compared to the regular Joe Schmo. They might have done everything they were told to do, from motivational videos to advice, and they don't realize it's you need to understand the complete negative side of things, of every other aspect. So let's say with my texting, if I reach out to them, I know they're being blown up, and then I need to understand how I can narrow down, like, the big herd, and pick out the couple quality ones. Once I have that, then I can have a funnel system of not spending an extra additional like $300 mass texting everyone. Now I can sort of lower my expenses by texting the quality ones who actually had a positive response.
Okay, and with like the money that you're spending on texting, so like are you utilizing like software from another company in order to like mass text people? Like like what are you exactly spending the money on when you say texting?
Texting is just sort of, it's very broad, but it's really, you're texting people who had some kind of positive response. Like, for example, if people in the sales industry would understand this, you can buy leads from lead vendors, and then because they expressed an opinion at one point in time, just because they got put onto something, or they don't want to buy anymore, doesn't mean you can't hit them up again a couple of months down the line. So that's basically where a lot of my expenses go towards.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. And like, is that all you're spending your money on as far as your startup is concerned as of now? Is it just like that broad term you're using, texting?
It's that. The other small expenses are sort of like, I would say, couple AI stuff here and there. Um, Seeing what other automated systems I can really utilize. So, for example, there's this great website called Calendly. I advise just everyone to sort of use it. You can either use it for free or you can pay for it. Basically, what that does, that integrates with your Google Calendar, and if you pay for it, the recipient that you put the appointment with can get email notifications, text messages. You can personalize those, and I like to be more impressionable on that side of things. So obviously, I pay for that, and I think it's like $12 to $20 a month. But I paid like a flat fee in front because I just want to get it done and over with. Another things would be like, I would say an automated system for my LinkedIn, and that can sort of vary in terms of how much I wanted to scale up my LinkedIn.
Right, and so you talk about investing in the right things, and then it seems
Mhm.
like you invest in stuff that will free up your time and sort of save uh just make it where you don't have to deal with a problem ever again. Like with Calendly,
Yeah.
you don't have to deal with scheduling; it just automatically is handled, and you can forget about it and focus on other things. Is that your general metric when looking for a good investment, or what sort of how would you define a good investment that people should dump their time and energy into?
Trying to find something that has the most minimal amount of risk slash negatives. That's how you're really gonna know if it's worth investing your time into. Um, so, and then comparing it with your amount of expenses you spend. See, with mine fluctuates, because let's say one week I just wanted to like slam out $3,000, then I could on texting, and then even make even more money. But it's just, let's say I pound $500 a week. I realize if a system is not working is when it can't pay for itself, right? Because really you can have those positive returns, but if you can't really just close them out or just get it to be a beneficial amount in terms of finances, it's no point of having that system. It's really is a learning curve, because unless you have someone teaching you, if it's inefficient at a certain point, then you're not going to know it until it's sort of too late, and then you go like, crap, I spent so much money only for to understand it didn't work out. So it's really just comes into the conversion rates of what you could possibly get out of it.
And so, how would you validate or identify the risk level when looking at systems?
Um, let's say a system that costs $50 a month, and that one system, let's say you didn't make a sale for 8 months. Is it worth having at that point? Because hold on, let me grab my calculator real quick. So if we did $50 a month for a whole year, $600 flat, right?
Yeah.
You gotta understand, you gotta make a positive response in terms of getting a return on that. So if you can't get more than $600, and then let's say you want to do it in a span of 8 months, that's $400. If you can't beat that, or let's say you're not seeing that growth, then drop it. Don't waste your time. Move on to the next thing. Because the biggest thing you should do as an entrepreneur is really just understanding um, how to dabble in everything. Because if once you have that, you sort of get a better, efficient, generalized idea of what to narrow down.
Okay.
Okay, with like talking about like systems and like them paying for themselves, like what were your upfront costs when you started your company, and like how long did it take you to pay it back if you have already? Like,
Um, I didn't fully dive into the not negative, I mean the automated systems aspect of things until maybe my second or third month in, because I wanted to be completely knowledgeable about my industry itself. Because if I'm gonna say, oh, you can use me as a knowledgeable basis, but if you ask me a question and I'm just sitting there clueless, you're not gonna trust me. You're never gonna trust me. Maybe like couple of years down the line, you're gonna look at me and be like, he didn't really know what he was talking about back then. Maybe he does
yeah,
now, but
fair.
I don't want to talk to him. Like, so now I've probably, yeah, my second or third month, and now I'm towards my 7 or 8 month.
And like if you had to estimate how much it was in the beginning,
Mhm.
how much was it? Like just setting everything up for your company.
Let's see. I would probably say like 1 to 3 grand for the 1 to 3 months that I started. And then from there, I sort of amped up my expenses by like tenfold. So now I'm like looking to spend, let's see if I can do this, 5 or 6 grand now. And my scaling is small. Um, it's really small. But what I want to do is sort of spend 10 to 20,000 a month, where my scale is so high up there, the rest is taken care of. I know there's going to be a return at some point, and then I can sort of transition out to working referral bases or and stuff like that.
Wait, so you said you were like right now you're spending, you'd say about like 5 grand a month,
5 grand at least, yeah.
and majority of that is through texting, right?
Um, Texting, sort of testing out a couple AI stuff that I like, research on my own time, like other useless stuff or projects I like to test out.
Okay.
So yeah.
And how do you make your money? Is it like a percentage? Is it like a flat rate per customer? Like what is that looking like?
So I mean, it is sales. Everyone here understands it's solely off commission, and that's the
Okay.
scariest part about people because you don't like sales unless you've been in sales and did well in it. Truth be told,
Yeah.
because it's really, I'd probably say it's the hardest industry to just like get into because it targets your like how you are naturally, your personality. Like even the smallest holes, if you are procrastinating about one thing, it will show in the workplace. And that's when I sort of have a mentor right now who I'm being taught by the young insurance guy. He he keeps me on track because he understands that nature of things. So it's like, yes, we both have the discipline to work, but everyone needs the little time off. But also within that work, you can be in the office for like 14 hours, but if you're on your phone every now and then or doing this and that, like you're not being efficient, you're wasting your time. Don't even be in the office for that time. Just work an 8 to 5 job if you want to do that. So yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to.
And so throughout all of that, what would be the most important lesson you've learned doing sales? What's like a tip people can walk away with to secure a sale that maybe you've discovered this performs well?
mm, Being authoritative in sales, you do not want to be like, maybe this is one of the best things that, no, you got to be like, look, this is the best you're gonna get. And then they like truth, the bluntness, and the assertiveness, because especially over the phone, people are more receptive to that shaky nature that someone might have. And so that's when you really gotta knock out on what you want to say on specific words to avoid and stuff like that. Because I know first starting off, when I was being taught by my mentor, I was stuttering left and right. It was horrible. It took me 2 months to get to like genuinely learn and be good at talking. Um, and then it made me realize you can't be kind over the phone. You can still have fun with the clients, joke around here and there, but truth be told, if you're too nice, you're not gonna handle an objection someone throws at you. Because if you'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you've been, getting so many texts," and then like you're gonna brush them off. You gotta sort of be that jock in high school where you're just shoulder checking everyone to get through the crowd, like you got to be that person, as much as I hate to say it.
Man, yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, is it like, would you say is it more of being confident rather than authoritative? Or
It's everything you think about when you hear the moment someone's, oh, he's confident. Like I like to bring up analogies, especially with new people in my business, because when I'm trying to teach them, they love, like the girl at the bar analogy. You're not gonna go up to a girl and be like, "Hey, like, do you want to go on a date?" Like, no, you wouldn't be like, "Hey, like, we're going on a date. I'll pick you up this time." There's two different demeanors and personalities you get from the way you phrase your words. So
okay,
obviously, the girl is more catered towards the confident,
the
assertive
guy
guy
that
at
knows what
that
he
point.
wants,
Yep.
right?
Because
Okay.
no one wants
Yeah,
to
'cause
spend their time on someone who doesn't know anything.
fair. And if you're a pushover, you're probably
Hmm.
like, if I was talking to somebody on the phone and they were, like very submissive in a way, and like they kind of just like they didn't sound confident and they were shaky, kind of like you were saying, like stuttering and stuff. I probably wouldn't want to do business with them either.
Yeah,
So I mean, I guess that does make sense. It was just in
and
the beginning when you
obviously,
said authoritative, I was like, what?
yeah, but what do you call it? It's just, I do understand, like, at certain times when someone does stutter, or if like they drink too much coffee, they're just tired from the next day. I don't try to be judgmental at that point.
Yeah,
Um, I try to reassure everyone I talk to and be like, I am so sorry. I'm legitimately on my third cup of coffee. Bear with me real quick because my
yeah.
mind's running through a mile per hour and I just could be spewing out like 10 words in 1 second. Like,
Okay,
and so
that's
it's
funny.
just, yeah, you just gotta like, you gotta have fun with people. It opens them up.
Yeah, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then what's the point of doing it in the first place,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah, it's just like, get off me. You can tell me about, oh, how you hit the gym like 24/7, but if, let's say you're overweight or you're like really anorexic, it's just like, yeah, like really, like why would I take advice from you? It's sort of like that. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta sort of show it through your work in order for people to believe you.
okay,
Um,
yes,
so a lot of people when they first start up, they try to go for the big fish. I was taught, don't do that. It's great. You might land on one of the big fishes and it might help you take off in the beginning, but go for that small fishes in the large pond. Like, go for them so you can hone up your skills and learn it. Because when you finally do get to that large fish pond, you're not wasting your time and getting, your bait ran away for like left and right. You can actually secure them, pull them out of the water, and like close out the deal.
So, would you agree with the statement that successful entrepreneurs are the ones who are the most confident, and so building that confidence is the most important thing you can do. But by going for the smaller fish, getting that confidence to step up to the next thing, is that do you see a direct
Mhm.
correlation between success and confidence?
Yes, because I try to surround myself with everyone who's better than me. Because then it gives me that hunger and drive to be like, I want to be better than you inevitably. Just give me time, and because I know I have the work ethic and the competitive nature to be like, I want to put you 6 feet on the ground and make sure you ask me for advice in the future. Um, but it's sort of you have to be confident, just not in terms of the work aspect too, and or sales. It's just in life. You're not going to see something by being skittish. Um, but I would say the top two keys is self-discipline and confidence.
And like,
Because you go ahead.
how do you build that discipline? Like you're talking to the person that eats potato chips on the couch all day. Like what it like what's how did they become a disciplined person? Like are there things that you've done to become more disciplined? Like what does
So
that look like?
back then, like I said, how I played unhealthy amount of video games. I didn't eat. I didn't do nothing. I didn't play sports. Nothing like that. I pretty much the moment I woke up, took a shower, ate, sat on my computer, and I procrastinated every possible homework there is in school. Now the thing I wish my parents sort of ingrained in me at an early age was not the fact that I need to get good grades more so, but understanding the importance of finishing this way before it's the deadline, because then you can be a lot more efficient with your time in the future, or you can have the luxury of being stress free and not being worried about day two comes around before a deadline. You're like, oh, man, I played video games left and right for like 5 days beforehand, and now I'm only have 2 days to work on the project. Now I got to put something willy nilly last minute. So what really helped me was I slowly transitioned. So I used to be really introverted. I didn't talk to no one. I kept to myself. The only people I talked to was people online. So I first wanted to fix how my body looked, or I guess how you are physically active. You can still, now look like you're in shape, like completely shredded or something, but you could have the ability to run like 10 miles. So I wanted to have that nature in me first, because if I can work on something external, it'll improve me internally. So it's a lot of strong body, strong mind. So I started going out on a run, and I struggled running that mile. Man, I was out of shape, even though I was so skinny. It sucked. But I knew, like, day by day, I'm instantly seeing progress. And by the end of the month, I was able to run a mile without a sweat. And then I was like, oh, this feels great. What can I move on to the next? So it's slowly integrating small things that could affect you subconsciously, if that makes sense.
So it's almost like that David Goggins approach. If you know who that is, he like
Hmm. Oh, who
uh
doesn't?
yeah, he like he pretty much became a disciplined individual through exercise, and
Hmm.
he got his mind in check because of exercise. So it almost sounds like that's what helped you.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Nothing would put you more at your limits as a human being, like, when you're working out. Because you're pushed to your physical attributes. Then you sort of get a humbling reality check. Man, I am exhausted. Man, I am weak. Man, I am so unfit. Like, what is this? This is pathetic. And that's when you're sort of at the edge of the cliff, right? I always like to give this analogy. You're at the edge of the cliff. Um, Person A, person B can both be at the edge of the cliff. They work their ass off. They're right there. The thing that's gonna make them different compared to jumping off the cliff and diving straight into the water is the person who understands why I'm struggling like this and how do I fix it, because I'm tired of being like this. Because that person B who's like, oh man, that's scary. I know I'm at this limit. I'm just gonna keep slowly building up to my limit and slowly increase it. That person's never gonna jump off the cliff. They're not. They're not gonna take that leap of faith. You need to. It's really just you push yourself physically. You're gonna understand how weak you are, how humbling you need to be, and then it's gonna affect you subconsciously. And then once you start getting the routine of working out, it's like, who's gonna stop you? Is the next person at the gym gonna stop you just because they're bigger? No. You might not be as fit as them, but you can probably outlast them endurance wise. There's other attributes in physical sense where people don't really like to look towards because social media has construed that entire topic, right? Now because now when you look, imagine someone's fit, you're imagining six pack shredded, like basically like sebum. Like you want to be that.
Yeah.
That's not something being physically fit. And then if you compare it to David Goggins, he's not ripped. He's just like now he's skinny and like but he's has the ability to run over 100 miles. He's just like it's insane. And I think that's what a lot of younger kids need to understand. It's being fit doesn't mean you have to be shredded. Doesn't mean you have to be strong. It's understanding what specific goals you want in your mind. So my goal in mind was I want to run a mile without breaking a sweat. That's the point where I'm at now. And I love my body for every second of it. I might not be the like best physically built guy, but that's just for myself. I'm not doing this to impress others because inevitably you're not going to impress others if you don't believe in yourself.
Right. And so, do you feel like you're particularly competitive and like seeing other people who are more successful around you is what motivates you to push harder? Or do you feel like in order to get that confidence, you might surround yourself, you might stick and do it solo and build up your confidence and then join the group with the more successful people? What do you think is the better path?
I would say there's two routes for that, right? So let's say you have a really anxious person, panic attacks left and right. That's the route I was at. It was to the point where I couldn't be in school because like I'm not sure if you ever guys seen the movie Wanted, but like the spinning bullet and like everything zooms in at the end of the hallway. That's how I felt when I got anxiety, and I hated being at the gym surrounded by others because I was so skittish. I didn't know what I was doing, so I worked out alone specifically and worked out my own way. And then I realized once I got to the point where I liked to be and felt comfortable, then I went to the gym where I could be surrounded by others and then be driven by the fact that someone else beside me is completely shredded, benching like 325s and then as with ease as their warm up. And I'm like, that's my motivator. That's who I want to look up to. Like, he is the ideal person I want to be in the future. So you got to surround yourself. The other route is if you don't care about what someone thinks of you, you should. Truth be told, everyone says, "Oh, you shouldn't." No, you should because it's the voice in the back of your mind telling you to get out, be that monster you need to be. Stop being so lazy. Use that environment you are in to force yourself to get up, right? Because it's like that phrase, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Was that Arnold or I forgot who it was? But it's like it doesn't matter how many times you get hit. It matters the amount of times you get up.
I think it's
Um,
Rocky or something.
Rocky, that's what it was. Thank you. But truth be told, that is how it is because you will be knocked down when you think you are at your best, and then when you are knocked down, how are you willing to take that? It's rigorous training of your mind itself. So it's really surrounding yourself in that environment of that other person or the group you're in. That's why your environment can either improve you or kill you straight up. It's if you're surrounded by people who don't have the same ideologies as you or in terms of work ethic and stuff like that, leave them. You can be friends with them in 20 years, like for 20 years of your life. Leave them. They don't have that drive. They're gonna bring you down subconsciously without you knowing it. Because you're now clinging on to the environment where you grew up comfortable. You're having, you know, laughs, the love's being sent around. Like that is why you want to surround yourself with everyone who's either A, better than you, or B, have the same driving goal as you. Hence why you see a lot of entrepreneurs who work in a group either do really well or don't. And then you also like have a lot of common ground of rich people going on podcasts telling you, I either isolated myself to divulge myself in business or I surrounded myself by rich people because rich people operate in this world completely different. There's a reason why they're rich because they're not thinking about, oh, I bought this coffee. Okay. They're thinking about why did I buy this coffee? What was the branding behind the reason why I walked into this coffee shop? Like it's those specific things you need to understand that will separate you from the herd.
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of sounds like you at one point were dealing with imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
and there was this book I was just reading called Think Again, and there's a chapter dedicated to imposter syndrome and how like most people view it as a bad thing, but his argument was that uh, it could be viewed in a good light because if you're in an environment where you believe everybody around you is better than you, then chances are you're really going to step up your game. Like
Yeah.
think about the kind of person that gets imposter syndrome. They're the kind of person that has very high standards for themselves. They're the kind of person that's very conscientious about what's happening around them. And so maybe that's what helped you. Who knows? Like surrounding yourself with a bunch of people that you believe are truly better than you at one specific thing. And just being around them is going to make you in the end a better individual, whether that be in the office or at the gym or something like that.
So with that, it's like, yeah, you can now surround yourself with other people, right? And now you got to think, what is there to motivate you something else? Mine is my competitive nature. I hate it. I hate losing to someone when I know I'm better than them. It drives me insane. But I work quietly. So I read this book, which I highly recommend. It's called 48 Powers of Law. It talks about psychological manners on what you should do. It brings back historical events that actually happened and tries to prove the point with it. So one, it talks about how you have to work in silence. And if something drives you insane, like you hate losing to someone, you're not going to be telling them it annoys you because they know what to dig into you and they'll easily can hit your foundation and make you crumble. And then next thing you know, you're out of commission for a couple of days because you're like, you lost the will and you're like giving up on yourself. The biggest thing you can do in terms of victory when you don't know who your opponents are, shut up, work, stay quiet. If something pisses you off, do it quietly, move on to the next. Because they're gonna boat and show inevitably you're gonna encounter that person. You're gonna encounter that person who thinks they're better than you. They're gonna tell like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Just you end up getting a smug demeanor while you're working secretly and they don't know how to go after you because they think you've completely given up because you are giving no reaction to things. But you're down the line, you might have just tripled him in terms of what he could possibly ever done, and now he's like looking like an idiot.
Yeah,
Like
I've
this
Yeah.
book is so good.
yeah, I've read 48 Laws of Power.
Hmm.
It's an interesting read. I enjoy a lot of the historical examples from everywhere. Is that your favorite book, or is there another that tops it?
Honestly, it's right now. It's for me. It's my favorite book. I do want it. There's just another book I want to read right after I'm done with this. It's called I think The Laws of Seduction or something like that.
From the same
Because
author?
I love psychological things. Yeah,
Yeah.
Robert Greene,
Yep.
amazing guy. But it's just this book itself. It's crazy how much things I can really pour my thoughts into in life because right now I feel like I'm like, well, a couple of years ago I was probably mindless, just talking to my friends, waking up, having fun with them, partying. But now I'm just like, I'm doing all of that, but thinking about everything. The smartest person in the room is going to be quiet. You're not going to showboat because if you have the power, the knowledge, you're better than everything. You're going to stay back and stay quiet because you might be proven wrong inevitably, or someone might have slightly more knowledge or proved you wrong with a different knowledge. And you know, for example, it's my roommate, photographic memory. Horrible thing to argue with him. Impossible.
Mhm.
It's
You've tried.
what I thought was yeah, what I thought was right. He instantly like proved me wrong, and then I just go like, "You got me. I mean, you're right." I stay quiet, I learn, and then next thing I know, I make sure to learn a little bit more on the secret side of things. So next time we argue about the same topic again, I can prove him wrong then.
Okay, I guess we could get into the rapid fire questions here. Um, I could start us off. How much sleep do you get?
Force myself always 6 to 7 hours. I used to be 5, not anymore. Because 5 is what you need for the bare minimum for your brain to function. But if I'm gonna have my productivity be at 100 every single day, I need 67.
Nice. Uh, this typically would be your favorite book, but you already answered that, so I'm gonna swap it to who's a founder or CEO that you're paying attention to right now? Who's another person that you're following what they're doing?
I believe his name is Alex M. It starts with something like that.
What did
He's a
he?
big influencer on YouTube. He pretty much started his own gym, and then he realized what he was being efficient on in terms of his investments at that gym. Sold that gym, and then now he's into either investing in other businesses or completely buying them out. And he understands the full psychological manner of everything too, so which is why I sort of lean towards him.
Very cool. Okay, we'll track him down.
So, if you had to start your career over again tomorrow with absolutely nothing, what's the first thing you'd do?
I'm learning everything there is to know about my job in general.
Which would be,
It's the ins and outs of every single different kinds of like policies out there, everything. Because that's how I like to operate. I can't work on other projects if I'm curious about one thing, so I need to fully like be at 100% knowledgeable about it, or like close to like 95%,
okay.
and then I can divulge into different multiple projects I have, which is automated systems. So
Got it. What's the most important thing to you in your life? What's most important to you in your life?
proving everyone wrong, because I've always been weak growing up, not just physically, but like mentally too. I felt weak. I was a pushover. Like people ran through me. I hate it now. I want to make sure I run through them, be that jock, shoulder checking them now. So when they look at me and be like, wonder what he's been up to, that loser, and then they see me, luxurious life, beautiful family, living that good life they wish they had. Because that nothing else is gonna sort of be a middle finger to them, then subconsciously proving that to them through your social media and stuff like that.
If you could change anything about the world, what would it be?
Oh man, that's a good one. Um, how ignorant someone can be. If people can lose their ignorance, then like society and civilization as a whole would just be skyrocketing.
Interesting one.
Yeah.
hmm
And last one. How would you like to be remembered?
Um, truth be told, probably there's two ways. Either my legacy that I leave behind if I do have family, or if it's just like I didn't go the family route, I don't need to be remembered because you're not going to be remembered in like 50 years after you die. You're just going to be another person that you remembered in your family, like, oh, that was my great grandfather. Not going to know anything about me, so there's no point. I
By your
know.
family specifically, like how do you want to be remembered by them if you do have a family? Like your wife, like let's say you're
Um,
gone before her, how do you want her to remember you or your kids?
the respect and love that everyone should get in life, because truth be told, it everyone needs love. They don't show it, but they do. They might push you away, kick you down to the curb, but you're gonna return to them with love back. And once they realize someone was so resilient with that person through the hardships, and it's gonna affect you. You're not gonna want your own kid to grow up thinking you gotta give up on love because someone hurt you. Like no, use it, use that experience to show someone else how to become a better person. So my entire thing right now, it's I grew up an extremely long time depressed, and it was the hardest thing for me to cope. And I've realized throughout the by the end of it was that I was too judgmental towards myself and towards everyone else. And I need to show that I'm on the same level with them. Someone can be better than me in some aspect. Fine, go for it. But I want you to know, him and I, we're still humans. I'm gonna show you more love until you gotta accept it and understand this life is so much better when you have those up and downs, because those ups you get sort of give you an additional reason, or like motivate you to be like, maybe life isn't that bad. Maybe it's a little nice to just cling around to, you know?
Fantastic. I think that's a great place to leave off. Thank you so much for joining us, Vincent. We'll be sure to link to all your
Hey, of course.
socials and make sure everyone knows to hit you up for any insurance related questions. If you've To our viewers, if you've stuck around this long, please be sure to like and comment. If you have any questions for Vincent, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them, and we'll be sure they make their way to him. If you're not subscribed, you should subscribe because we're here doing this podcast every Tuesday at noon. So be sure to catch on that next episode, and we'll see you there. Don't be late. See you.